Team, Taki here, hope you're great. Today's session, the client success systems. I've got to get a wisdom tooth out in about half an hour. I've got 10 minutes with you. Let's smash this out, make sure the time really counts. There's a download for today. If you want to get a copy, just comment download below. We'll hook you up. So we'll talk about how to deliver leverage coaching, how we look after hundreds of clients and make them feel seen and connected and successful. And we do it all without losing our mind. So here's the problems we're trying to solve. As a business grows, it's really hard to know where the clients are up to. Like who's winning, who's not, who haven't we seen? Like you're kind of in the dark if you don't have a system for this. If you don't have a system for this, clients don't feel the love. And if they don't feel the love, what happens? They reach out for you one-on-one for help. You get bogged down in one-on-ones and then they walk and they squawk and they balk. You know, they leave, they complain and they think you're overcharging. What we're going to do instead is the opposite. First, you're going to know where every client is, like the trusty sheepdog. Number two, clients are going to feel seen and supported the whole time. You're going to free yourself up, and if we do this well, then clients will stay longer, they'll say good things about you, and they'll happily pay your fees. That's the goal here. I just want to give a shout out to a couple of people I learned from in this process. Michael Griffiths, great client of ours for years and years and years, taught me the traffic light system we're going to talk about today. Clint Salter, runs the Dance Studio Owners Association, amazing client. Those two are probably the best kind of client retention guys I know. I've been super lucky to have them in our world and learned a bunch. So thank you, fellas. Big shout out to Alex and Layla Hormozi, who ran Gym Launch, and a bunch of others. Let's get straight in. Here's the big idea. Simple scales, complex fails. So what we want is some simple systems that'll help you keep track of clients and know who needs help where, and be able to largely move to a place where they only escalate issues when there's issues to escalate, and most of the problems are handled proactively. Layla Hormozi, I asked her once the secret to their success, and she said scaling empathy. What I'd love to do is give you 5 keys for doing this super well. Now I'm going to whip through these and we'll get into a couple of tools you can use. Number 1, measure what matters. Just like if you're driving a car, there's a couple of gauges. There's not 50 million things you need to know. There's a couple. There's speed, there's where you are on the road, there's petrol. That's probably about it, right? If you're flying a plane, it's the same. If you're checking a kid's temperature, it's the same. There's a handful of basic factors. We want to measure lagging indicators like client results and retention, but we also want to measure leading indicators like engagement, participation, show up. Does that make sense? Number 2, part of our job is to direct traffic, is to figure out like a little traffic light system and work out who's a green light, they're clear, they've got what we would call their right next thing, and they're moving forwards on it. Who's yellow, maybe a little bit unsure, or we haven't seen them for a bit, and who's red, in serious trouble and needs surgery. And so your job is to build a system for directing traffic, whether you've got, at 5 clients, you don't need this. At 10 clients, maybe it's useful. At 30 to 40 to 50 to 100 to 200 to 500 clients, this is super important. We need a system that can do it. Number 3, our job is to manufacture relationship. It's to set up some simple systems where people are checked in on and seen and cared for, above and beyond the stuff that is to group. You can design it, and you should. You can choreograph it, and you should. And you can architect it, and you should. But you don't have to be manually going, I haven't talked to Bob in a while. We want a system, because systems are as reliable as people aren't, myself included. Cool? Next, we want to plug the leaks. We want to find out where the problems are in the process right now. Are you losing people early? If you think about the first 90 days, that's a good kind of early stage churn. If you're losing people there, it's probably an onboarding issue. Mid-stage churn, there's some check-ins that could happen. And then late stage churn is kind of end of first year to renewal. We want to figure out where the leaks are, and they're different for everybody and every business. So you want to find out where the leak is right now and fix that leak systemically so that you don't have a problem anymore. Otherwise, you're going to be forever bogged down in one-on-ones trying to troubleshoot individual problems. The 5th step here, as you grow and scale, is to empower the team to run these systems for you. What I want to do is just give you a couple of simple tools. There's some stuff in the worksheets that we'll cover, and some stuff that I'm just going to get as tactical and practical as we possibly can here. We want to measure engagement. Any warning signs. A red flag for us would be missed an event, or said something not super positive in a group or on a call. That's a warning. And then you can use NPS, Net Promoter Score, at the end of an event or periodically through your program. The second big thing is to direct traffic. And what we want to set up is a traffic light board. Let's see if I've got one here. Here's a sample. So in our world, every one of our clients, every single one has a little card, just like we use Ontraport for this, but you could use Trello or Asana or a piece of paper. And every client lives on a little card here on our board. So let's just say we've got, I'm just going to make them circles because they're quicker to draw, a bunch of clients, And some of them are going to be green. Remember, green is they've got their right next thing and they're engaged. A red is in trouble, obvious trouble, and a yellow is question mark. Either they're not sure about their right next thing, or you're not sure that they're sure, or that you're not sure, they're not engaged. You don't know if it's a problem, but it's worth checking in on. So every week, our client success team meets. The board has been pre-shuffled because of the scoring we did earlier with engagement, and the board will be looking like this, and they have a quick meeting just to look at the columns and go, who's in the wrong column here? Who's in red that we've just talked to is actually good for an hour, and maybe they're yellow, right? Who's in green that we know isn't, and they're just managing exceptions. Cool? And then once we've got people in the right column, then we're just going to work out actions for whoever needs to be extra looked after. This person here needs a shout out. Those people there need some remedial help. Does that make sense? Traffic light board, super simple system, really, really good. So like I said, there's a board, there's a meeting, and it's a manual process because you want your success team to have fingertip feel about who's doing well and who's not let the robots take over everything. Cool? Next up, let's talk about manufacturing relationship. What we want is to be able to create connections with people in a systemized basis. So we go, what are the points? How often do we want to talk to people? And how do we systemize this thing? So I'm just going to give you a few examples pre-filled in. Reach outs. And so one of the measures here is number of conversations had per success team member. And if you take the number of coaches you've got, the number of clients you've got, and you divide them up, each person might get 10 or 20 or 100, depending on your numbers, of people that's their squad to look after. Cool? So they're going to be reaching out. Then we want to figure out the schedule. I think at minimum, 2 a month is really good. I think twice a month is a good kind of average for everybody. So the question is, what do we want to be doing every day, every week, every month in terms of a rhythm so that your guys are getting loved on, checked in on, looked after? Then what we want to do is we want to make help easy to find. If they have to ask you every time, it's just a symptom that there's not good systems in place and it's not easy for them to find the stuff themselves. So it's like, how do we make the stuff more accessible? Which is about labeling, hierarchy in your membership site, and putting them in an easy to find place. Escalation, where do they go to get help? And so in our world, point of call number 1, ask in the group. Number 2, ask on the daily call. Number 3, send us an email. Number 4, we'll book in a one-on-one if we think it's necessary. And if it gets escalated all the way up to little old me, then that's fine too. Lastly, I just want to talk about this idea of extending the shelf life of your stuff. I got 2 puppies 5 months ago. They do my head in and they're growling at each other right now. That's probably the time to wrap this up. Extend the shelf life. You have great training, you deliver it today, and probably in 2 months' time, everyone's forgotten about it because they're onto the next shiny thing, which is a problem because people need what's true, not just what's new. And so what we want to do is build out a self-help FAQ system in your business. And we're going to do it by capturing where questions come up in a Facebook group, on a call, in an email. We're just going to get a list of those things. And then we're going to decide how often are we going to check what's worthy of FAQizing. Twice a month is probably good, but if you want to go more often, it's fine. But just collect them all up and then look through and go, oh, that's an FAQ, that happens a lot, let's deal with that. And then figure out where it's going to live and how you're going to store it. And there's a sheet here in the book. The knowledge base builders. What are the inboxes where FAQs or questions come in for you? Where are we going to capture them and how? We just have a place in Basecamp where they all live. How often are we going to check them? Let's go 2 times a month. And it's maybe a 30-minute scan. What format are we going to use? Well, we're just going to give it we're going to use a video, and it's going to live as a satellite under one of our Planet videos. And where's it going to live? It's going to live inside Black Belt members. Cool? Listen, there's a few quick tips on client success in a large group format. There's a lot of magic tricks to learn. Here's a couple. If I was just getting started, I'd go traffic light system and engagement scoring is probably your first 2 easy ones. Although I put those 2 together, and then the reach out system, twice a month per client, whether it's text or it's email or it's voicemail or it's whatever you use, physical mail, an actual physical reach out from a person to a person, not a broadcast to everybody. Is that cool? Listen, if you want to get a copy of the sheets, super easy. Just comment download below and I'll hook you up. Cool. I got to go to the dentist. Big love. Take good care. I'll talk to you soon.